Ghostbox writes, how do you get into car maintenance and like keeping your car maintained? How did I? Um, this is my first car that I bought for myself. Um, Before I had my first kid, and up until then, I was all about bicycles. I would build and ride bicycles. So I think a little bit of my mechanical inclination comes from just tinkering. I also like to play with RC cars um, and modify those too. So I think it's the culmination. Like I like to work with my hands in general. And then, why do I do this? With everything I have, I like to modify it. I like to make it a little bit better than it was. So, with a car, I think that's like the perfect place to experiment with those kind of desires, I guess, urges. So I got into fixing my car and maintaining my car out of the necessity to. Like, I don't want to have to pay someone to do like simple maintenance. It's kind of like with bicycle stuff too. Like, you gotta handle your brakes, your chain, and the air in your tires. It's kind of the same with a car. Keep it filled up, keep it clean. Check the oil, check the brakes, check the air filters, and then you kind of like learn a little bit more as you try to do it yourself. The first thing, right? Like pump up your tires. You go to the gas station and you have your own air compressor and you figure out like what is PSI, pounds per square inch, or how much pressure do I need? And you'll look it up, and then you'll discover like a little bit more about cars. So then your tires are good and you go out and drive. And then later on, maybe you got, some other thing like, oh, my windshield washer fluid, it's low, I gotta fill that up. Like, try doing it. Open up the hood. Do you know where the hood latch is? Do you know how to open the lock? Right? And then you'll look that up, and then maybe you'll pop the hood and you're like, oh, there's like this whole engine compartment here. And there's like all these different things. Like you're like, some people are overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed the first time I looked at my car's engine bay, and then things just started, being more recognizable every time I looked in there. I'd I'd ask questions, right, and then people would tell me, hopefully not in a negative way, but in a constructive way, to kind of like teach people, or like coach people, to be confident and trying things for themselves. I completely understand if you're the if your brain is the type that does not like to get hands on, right? I for certain things, like, I'm definitely gonna pay someone to do it, but you go and progress slowly or quickly, depending on how interested you are in the topic. So that's a little bit about how I got into cars and how I'm doing my own maintenance for my cars. Uh, you just learn. You just step into it. I think if you want to do it, you'll do it. Hopefully these videos do help. Um, this is my journey, so hopefully your journey will be a positive one too.